What if I told you, the blood running through your veins might not just be keeping you alive, it might also be carrying someone else's identity? It's a truly chilling thought. Imagine waking up one day after a simple, life-saving blood transfusion, and suddenly craving foods you've always hated, feeling waves of an emotion you can't explain, or even dreaming vivid, detailed dreams that feel deeply personal, but don't belong to you. Sounds like the plot of a psychological thriller, right? But this isn't fiction, this is based on real science. And tonight we're going to dive deep into the shocking idea that your blood may hold memories, behaviors, and maybe even pieces of another person's soul. We've all been taught in school that blood is basically a biological delivery system, a simple courier service carrying oxygen, nutrients, and waste, a purely mechanical function, that's it. But scientists in the last decade have discovered something much stranger, something that turns that old textbook model on its head. Blood is not just a delivery truck, it's an active, intelligent communication network, a liquid memory system, and maybe a hidden personality archive. Immune cells that remember old battles for decades, a form of long-term cellular memory. Hormones floating in your blood that directly shape your moods from moment to moment. Proteins that literally teach your body how to react under stress, creating a physical record of your experiences. So the question is, if blood can store memory, can it also store identity? Here's where things get really weird. Doctors have documented cases of patients who underwent blood transfusions or organ transplants and came out with shocking personality changes. Case story #1. A man, previously a health food enthusiast, suddenly developed an insatiable craving for greasy junk food after a transfusion. His donor, a young man known to love fast food. Case story #2. A middle-aged office worker who started having vivid, terrifying nightmares of combat, later traced back to his blood donor, a veteran soldier. Case story #3. People reporting entirely new habits, sudden phobias they never had, even their handwriting style mysteriously morphing into something unfamiliar. Coincidence? Or is blood carrying fragments of another person's identity into a new host? Now before you think this is pure science fiction, let's break down the biology. Immune memory, white blood cells, remember pathogens for years. Epigenetic markers, chemical instructions on your DNA floating inside blood cells that can switch genes on and off. Hormonal messages, cortisol, serotonin, dopamine, all circulating and changing how your brain feels in real time. So if you receive someone else's blood, you might also be receiving their immune history, their stress patterns, even fragments of their emotional blueprint. Some researchers now argue that blood should be seen as a liquid organ of consciousness. Think about it. Your brain tells your blood how to react, but your blood constantly feeds signals back to your brain. It's a loop, which means your blood may not just serve your brain, it might actually shape who you are. So, here's the terrifying question. If your blood is carrying more than oxygen, if it's carrying identity, what happens when that identity doesn't match your own? Does your body accept it? Does it fight it? Or does it merge with it, creating a new version of you? And maybe the scariest thought of all, how much of you is really you? And how much is just information your blood is feeding your brain? Of course, most people will never notice these effects in daily life, but your blood is shaping your mood, your energy, your focus, right now. The truth is we almost never check what's really inside our blood. That's why tools like home blood test kits, Inside Tracker Everlywell, are exploding right now. Imagine being able to see right from home what signals are floating inside you, silently shaping who you are. And if you want to reset your blood's balance, supplements like beetroot extract, iron with folate, and vitamin B12 can help clean and recharge that communication system. I've even built something for you, a digital blood pattern tracker, a simple PDF you can download that lets you map your mood, energy, and sleep against what your blood markers are saying. You'll be surprised at the patterns. So next time you look at your arm and see veins running just under the skin, ask yourself, is this just blood? Or is this a second identity hiding inside me? And if you ever needed proof that you're not who you think you are, just remember, your blood may already be telling a story you can't hear. Everywhere you go, it follows you, a silent, loyal companion clinging to your heels, patiently waiting, always just one step behind, your shadow. But here's the question nobody dares to ask. What if that dark figure, that faithful copy of your form, isn't just a trick of light? What if it's a hidden part of you, the part you never ever face? Since childhood, we've all lived with this companion, our shadow. It's always there, but we never question it. Carl Jung called it the shadow self, the collection of desires, fears, and impulses we bury deep inside. Myths and folklore from every culture speak of dark twins or soul shadows that follow us. And strangely, in certain moments of fear or anger, people describe literally seeing their shadow distort, as if mirroring the storm inside them. So ask yourself, is your shadow just light bending, or is it your inner self, quietly revealing who you really are? Think about this. Have you ever exploded in anger and later thought, that wasn't me? Or felt a surge of envy so sharp it scared you? What about that secret ambition you tell no one about, fearing it's too selfish or too grand? Or maybe you've avoided certain truths about yourself, your failures, your darker fantasies, your hidden shame. Where do those feelings go? They don't vanish, they go into your shadow. Is your shadow carrying the weight of every emotion you've denied? Carl Jung described shadow work as the most important step in truly knowing yourself. Modern psychology agrees. Unexamined emotions don't just fade away, they fester and become triggers. The mind pushes them down, but the energy has to go somewhere. Suppressed anger becomes sudden rage. Ignored trauma becomes a constant humming anxiety. And here's the eerie part. Neuroscientists have discovered that our brain actually stores suppressed memories in ways we're not aware of, but our body reacts to them anyway. Your shadow may literally be written in your nervous system. In ancient Egypt, the Ka was a shadow self, a spiritual double that lived alongside you. In some Native American traditions, losing your shadow meant losing your soul. In medieval Europe, people feared shadows could detach and act on their own, like a second being. The shadow is everywhere in myth because it's everywhere in us. Here's where it gets chilling. When you ignore your shadow, it doesn't disappear. It grows stronger in the dark, taking control from behind the curtain. That unexplained fear, shadow, that destructive relationship pattern you can't break, shadow, that nagging feeling of being an imposter no matter how much you achieve, that's your shadow too. That dream where something dark chases you, shadow, and maybe, just maybe, the shadow following you in your room at night is not just a trick of light, but the echo of everything you've denied. But here's the twist. Your shadow isn't your enemy, it's your teacher. It holds the keys to your greatest strengths, hidden within your deepest fears. When you face it, you grow. When you integrate it, you become whole, and you heal. That's why therapists and spiritual coaches recommend tools like the Shadow Work Journal, a guided workbook that helps you write down the parts of yourself you've ignored. It's not about fixing your shadow, it's about listening to it. You can even experiment with your physical shadow. Imagine meditating under a shadow playlight, a special lamp that casts strange patterns on your wall. It forces you to see your shadow differently, sometimes beautiful, sometimes haunting. Because when you see your shadow, you start to see yourself. So the next time you walk alone at night and notice your shadow stretching across the ground, ask yourself, is it just a reflection of light, or is it the darker half of your soul, patiently waiting for you to turn around and finally meet it? What if your shadow isn't just a shadow? You think you're in control of your life. You think every decision you make comes from your brain. But what if I told you, you're not the one calling the shots, that you're more like a puppet and something else is pulling the strings? Inside you, right now, billions of tiny creatures are whispering into your nervous system. They can make you crave food you don't need. They can sink you into depression. They can even push you toward addictions you swore you'd never touch. Let's start with a question. Have you ever craved chocolate so intensely that it felt like you had no choice? Or found yourself suddenly anxious, restless, or angry, without knowing why? Sudden mood swings, unexplained fatigue, irrational cravings or addictions. These may not be failures of willpower. They might be messages from the microscopic passengers inside your gut. Your gut is home to an entire universe, trillions of bacteria, viruses, and fungi collectively called the microbiome. This isn't just a random collection of germs, it's a highly organized community that has evolved with us for millennia, influencing our health in ways we're only beginning to understand. Here's the shocking part. These tiny organisms outnumber your human cells. In a way, you are more them than you are you. Their genes outnumber yours by over 100 to 1. The gut-brain axis. A direct nerve highway, the vagus nerve, connecting your gut to your brain. Neurochemicals. 90% of your serotonin, the happiness molecule, is made in your gut, not your head. Gut bacteria can release dopamine, GABA, and other brain-changing chemicals. Translation: the voice in your head might not always be your own, it might be the whisper of your microbes. Still think this sounds crazy? Let's look at some cases. Case #1. Researchers transplanted gut bacteria from anxious mice into calm mice, and the calm mice became anxious overnight. Their behavior completely transformed. It was as if their fear was contagious. Case #2. People who received a fecal microbiome transplant for medical reasons reported shocking changes in mood and cravings. Some became suddenly outgoing, others developed sweet tooth addictions they never had, inheriting personality traits along with the microbes. Case #3. A patient in Europe underwent a gut treatment, and afterwards began craving fast food constantly, just like the donor whose microbiome they had received. Their body started acting on someone else's desires. It's like installing someone else's software inside your brain. Here's how the manipulation works. 1. Chemical control. Gut microbes release neurotransmitter serotonin, dopamine that shape your mood. 1. Nutrient hijack. They trigger cravings for the food they need to survive. 1. Immune signals. They can spark inflammation that leads to depression or anxiety. 1. Vagus nerve whispering. They send direct signals to your brain through the gut-brain highway. So when you think, I want sugar, maybe it's not you who wants it, it's them. And this leads to chilling possibilities. What happens if you transplant microbiomes between people? Do you inherit parts of their personality? Could certain bacteria make you fall in love or fall out of love? Could an imbalance in microbes destroy relationships, even cause divorce? It sounds absurd until you realize your decisions, your emotions, your addictions may not have been fully yours to begin with. But here's the good news. Once you see the strings, you can start cutting them. Imagine sending a small sample and getting a full map of who's really living inside you. Companies like Viomi or Flore reveal which microbes are helping you and which are manipulating you. Not all bacteria are enemies, some are allies. Probiotic blends designed for mood and focus can literally shift your emotional baseline back into balance. And sometimes, you need to wipe the slate clean. Detox products like Hum Daily Cleanse can help flush out the freeloaders and give you back control. I've also created a simple digital tool, the Mind Control Tracker. It lets you log your cravings, moods, and meals so you can see patterns and spot when your microbes are pulling the strings, because the first step to winning this battle is realizing you're in one. So the next time you reach for junk food, or feel a sudden wave of sadness, or act against your better judgment, stop and ask, is this really me? Or is it something living inside me, making decisions on my behalf? The scariest part? You'll never know for sure. If these stories made you think twice about who you are, hit subscribe. We'll keep exploring the strange edges of science and mind. Links to the blood pattern tracker and mind control tracker are in the description below. Like, comment with your thoughts, and share this video if it made you question the story your body is telling. Until next time, stay curious.